Testing 1 2 3. Mic check. Testing 1 2 3. All good. Thank you, Random Ladybird. Do you hear the music as well? Just wanted to confirm. Atlan, Random Ladybird, thank you for confirming. How was everyone's week? How are we doing today? And are we excited for the Dungeon Alchemist mapmaking show? Music's a little bit higher than usual. Interesting. I'm feeling you on the hot weather. It's getting close to being 100 degrees and stuff around here lately. We had a couple-day reprieve where it was a little bit cooler, but man, it's been hot. So as people are rolling in, let's go over today's itinerary. Thank you, Atlam, for confirming. So we have our news segment today, which we will be discussing bubbles. Bubbles! Bubbles! I won't elaborate more until I can show them to you. Immediately following that is our Damn User segment, our interview with a very special guest, Moore DND, who is a Dungeon Alchemist fan and user. He uses it for his content creation on one of his weekly streams, the Midweek Monster Mash. And I believe he uses it for an active campaign. Now, that said, he'll be joining us after the news segment for roughly 45 minutes to an hour. During that segment, I expect everyone to be on their best behavior, and you will be able to ask him questions related to, you know, his experience with tabletop gaming, Dungeons and Dragons, DMing, content creation, etc. Moving on, the segment after that will be the Damn Question segment, which, unlike the segment with our friend, which is related to questions with the interviewee, Q&A segment will be Dungeon Alchemist related. So if you have any questions that, you know, you need support, guidance with your map making, your exports, or maybe you're trying to build a specific style of map or mimic a map you found on the workshop, that's the time to tune in and let me know what you need help with. You let me know those questions in chat, and I'll give you real-time support on the stream. Immediately after that segment will be the workshop segment, where we will have a map showcase. I've handpicked a few maps that we will showcase if we get to that point. And afterwards will be our feature segment, which is the Cartomancer Chronicles. I'd love to, you know, share with you what the Cartomancer Chronicles is and what it means to me and our community. Anyway, moving on, let's get into our news segment, shall we? Let me pull up these impressive, I have to say. Hold on. Refreshing the Steam stream because I do not have it. And refreshing TikTok. We're live on all feeds. Fantastic. Valeri, Dungeon Alchemist is designed to be used in that aspect. If you're making maps for your own campaigns, that's exactly what it's used for. You don't have to credit us, really, but if you like to, by all means, we appreciate it as an indie team of less than 10 people on our team. That's including art, the community team, which is me, our art team, our dev team, and our admin. So we are a very small indie team, and we appreciate all all support we get, whether it's word of mouth or credits or people just shouting us out. So are you using your map in a game that you plan to sell? Like, is it like a module or something like that? while they're waiting to say that, I'm going to pull up these teasers that I was talking about. Do y'all like bubbles? It's actually $100,000, John, not $1 million. Yes, please do. Press kit link. So, Valeria, you can make content with Dungeon Alchemist for resale, whether it's for, commission work or like a Patreon, or maybe you're making a module or a campaign setting. You can use Dungeon Alchemist to your heart's content for your content creation for your maps and settings and backdrops and whatever, what have you. That said, some things to be aware of. Content on the workshop does not fall under that. So anything on the workshop that is shared by our community is not free use unless it's explicitly said so in its description. Some assets created by hand and shared on the workshop, or people are fine with you using them in your works. That said, moving on, maps, anything you make in Dungeon Alchemist, you can resell it and whatnot. If you we understand a lot of people in our community are content creators. In fact, everyone in our community is a content creator. Whether you're a fledgling DM, a longtime DM, a streamer, someone making maps for commission, or maybe someone making and selling a story, a campaign. That's not a problem at all. You can, as long as you don't surpass $100,000, I think in gross is what it is, income. That's the exact wording is under Article 4.1 of our terms of service on our website. Essentially, you don't need to worry about anything. Once you surpass that, then you need a special commercial license, which honestly, they're a case-by-case basis, dependent on the scope of your project or the scale it's gotten to or planned to be, etc. So 100,000. So back to the news here, we have a bubble. There is this new asset they're working on, which I'm not even really sure what to call it. I guess, I guess just a bubble. I think it'll be a new effect. So here's kind of a little tease of it so far. This is a work in progress, by the way. All right. I have shown the bubble. I don't know much about it or when it'll be available. I'm hoping in Fun with Objects Part 2. Now, yeah, it's slightly animated and iridescent. It's pretty cool. While we're looking and admiring the bubbles, I just want to quickly remind you we're going to be bringing on our guest here shortly. Moore DND, very amazing fellow, great guy. I met him through TikTok, and he's a very skilled content creator in that regard. He makes and shares videos there. He has a YouTube account, and also he does Twitch streaming. But he makes a lot of creative content that is very helpful for new DMs and players. And he also hosts a stream called the Midweek Monster Mash, which I find very fun, and I've actually been a participant on as a guest just recently, about 2 months ago or so. But basically, it is a stream where it's DM versus DM pitted against each other. We pick monsters from a certain set of CRs and then battle each other in an arena kind of map. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But anyway, I just am very excited to bring him on here in just a moment. So everyone, be on your best behavior here. What do y'all think of the bubbles really quickly? Well, before we move on from that. This map, by the way, is his map, one of his maps. This is he shared a few of his maps with me, so we'll have them on the stream as backdrops. As always, Imani, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Dam fam. Oh, a googly eye in the bubble would be great. One moment. We're going to go over to this new feed I have set up, and we're going to bring him on. Okay, you should be able to see him now. Let me make sure you can hear him. Stand by. Oh, I got to mute the music. Go ahead and say something. We're going to turn you up gradually so they can hear you better.
Check, check. What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And that bubble, by the way, I don't know if anybody can hear me or not yet, but that bubble is wicked.
I'm glad you like it. You should be able to hear him by now. Do you hear him good? Is his sound pretty reasonable? Just want to make sure you hear both of us. There should also be no music at this point.
Yeah, I couldn't hear music either way, so it sounds the same to me.
Fantastic, fantastic. I like his background too. His branding's on point. On point.
Yeah, I was once I saw you had the green screen thing going on, I was like, oh, maybe I was supposed to do that. I don't know. I should have asked.
Amani, prior to us going live with this interview segment, we did have some music on, but it was very light in the background. It's basically you only hear it if your volume is turned up a bit, and it's meant to be very, very background music. Anyway, moving on from that, welcome, my friend, to the stream. So excited to have you on the DAM show, or the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking show. This is your first time, obviously, as an interviewee. But I'm curious. Have you tuned in the stream? I think you have a few times in the past for the DAM show, right?
I have. I don't know if I've been here when you've had a guest. I've been here probably for the parts after this.
Gotcha.
Where you're talking, and I've asked questions before, but I've never seen a guest on here, so I didn't know what to expect.
Well, I'm excited to have you on, and I hope you buckle up because it's going to be quite a ride. I'm just kidding.
I'm ready.
I'm just kidding. It's never that intense. So to get things rolling, I'm going to ask a few questions. But before we get started, I just want to let everyone know if you have any questions for Moore, whether it's related to, tabletop gaming, DMing, various tabletop settings, map making, content creation, please ask away, but please preface your question with the word question. That allows us to quickly sift out the questions, put them in a list, and address them in the order they were received, one at a time. So if you have any questions, please feel free to start dropping those in chat now. We do have a few in our Discord, and I'm going to get things started just to kind of get the ball rolling. So, Moore, how long have you been a game master, a dungeon master?
I am one of the many who joined in right around the COVID time period when everybody was cooped up inside looking for something fun to do. I had exhausted all of my board games at that point, and I had always had the interest of getting into Dungeons and Dragons, and I saw the starter set at Target one time walking through. And so I decided to pick it up and realized it was going to take me a long time to learn how to do this game.
The starter set, it's a little bit deceptive. It's more like we're going to get you started on a very long journey. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was way more than I thought it was going to be. And obviously I fell in love with it because I have made my whole life about it at this point. So that was when I got started, just like many others, and it has grown since then. So,
well, I'm in a similar boat, DMing for me, so I feel that vibe 100%. Though I've been playing myself since I was a little boy, I got to ask follow-up question: how long have you been playing D&D? Is it the same time frame as COVID, or did you play it prior?
No, it was the same time frame. I told my friends, listen, I'm going to learn how this game works, then I'm going to learn how to DM it, and then I'm going to learn how I should teach you to play it. And so I had to figure it all out at the same time.
By the way, we got some people watching on YouTube. One of them, Nick Hill. I am assuming he's one of your viewers because he's like, oh, not more stream.
Up,
and then we got a viewer named Evil Penguin. I just want to say hello to them because I'm paying attention to your chat. I do see it. And if you do have questions for our guests today, Moore, let us know by prefacing your question with the word question followed by the question. Okay? Anyway, glad to have everyone here, and we're getting people starting to roll in, so this will be really excited as the questions start to roll in. Now, let's discuss a little bit more at length your experience with DMing. Are you
Sure.
currently running a campaign?
So, because of this YouTube hobby, I have been a bit too busy to continue on with one, but I do something that is called Heroes Haven. It's something I kind of made up, but it was a way because I had so many friends that wanted to play all the time, which was a really good problem to have. But so I had never heard of West Marches. Like I mentioned, I'm relatively new to all of this, but so one of a few of my first videos were all about this Heroes Haven campaign that I put together, and everyone kept saying, this is West Marches. You're making West Marches. That's what you're doing. So that has grown into the scenario that I run when I get a chance to play. It's not really a continuous campaign where there's crazy things going on right now. But people do have their heroes that they bring into a town that I created called Heroes Haven. And it's basically a town that is funded by people sending in requests for adventurers to come help them out with their problems. So it makes sense for this group of heroes to all be in the same place, but be working with different heroes occasionally. So that's what I am typically running when I'm running something, but it's been a little while, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you started running a West Marches server without even realizing it was West Marches.
Pretty much.
That's funny. And do you have multiple DMs in this server? Is it just you, or who carries the torch when you're not DMing?
Yeah, it's all in person. I have done it pretty much every time, but I have offered up to all the players if you ever want to try DMing, like this is a perfect excuse to do it. You don't have to run a whole campaign. You can do a one shot, but it's essentially still part of this larger storyline. And so my wife has tried it. She did one. It was an island retreat. They were having an issue with a giant creature, I'll say, that was terrorizing their guests for this couples retreat, pretty much. So she ran that one, which was a lot of fun. And then I had another friend of mine run a scenario for a person who was testing out a new activity that it was looking for strong heroes to come give a shot. And it was basically like a video game that you got sucked into. And that was really cool too.
Cool.
But other than that, I've run the rest of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Have you played any other tabletop games besides D&D?
The only other one that I've played is Call of Cthulhu. And the buddy that made the video game one, he's the one that ran that. He's very big into it. And if I were to compare the two, I like Dungeons and Dragons a lot more than I like Call of Cthulhu. And that is not putting down Call of Cthulhu at all. But boy, was it depressing.
I
was just
I've heard it's very dark horror setting, or is it more just the gameplay is designed to grind you down? I haven't played it, so
no, so Dungeons and Dragons is all about saving the day, getting, being the hero, growing, getting better. And Call of Cthulhu was all about, man, how long can you live? That's about all you got.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend giving it a shot if you get a chance. But just don't expect to be leveling up and becoming this great hero. You're not. You're gonna go insane.
Fantastic. Honestly, that's funny to hear. I've heard a lot of people, asking if we'll offer more support for it. I don't know exactly the vibe that it is because I've never played. I'm going to look into it a bit, just, maybe like a different game setting once in a while. Anyway, okay, next question from me. Let's see here. You have been, obviously DMing since COVID, or like since you jumped into it, as you said earlier.
Sure.
Have you had experience with map making prior to that?
No, I was fresh at it. And when I first started, I was using maps because it was for the starter set, like I mentioned, Lost Mines of Phandelver, literally my favorite campaign to date still. And there's a guy, Mike Schley might be his name. There was a person who made the maps that I think were even in the book, if I remember correctly, but I was able to purchase the maps from him and use those. And that's when I was using paper maps to start with.
That's awesome. So you found this guy online, or were those the ones built into the adventure?
I found them online, but I'm pretty sure I've later found out, I'm pretty sure they're the ones that were also printed in the book.
Fantastic.
Real quick, but.
I don't have the Fandelver. I guess it's a free adventure, huh? I don't have a book for it, so I never really considered.
Yeah, it's the starter set. So the box that you get, well, actually, it's the older starter set because they've got a newer one now that they sell.
I
Um,
just got confirmation from our mod, Mike Schley.
okay, perfect.
Schley is the LMOP map maker, yes.
Wow, I can't believe I remembered that name out of
And
nowhere.
it's
I
the
have to pull
starter
that up.
box is where it's at. So
Yeah, and the maps are great. And I was the only so you have the ones that obviously come in the book, but I purchased them online because I wanted to print them out on paper. And I have a 6x6 table that we play on with a 4 foot by 4 foot section in the middle for me to place maps. So I was able to print them out really big to play on. Um, so that's why I wanted to get the actual high definition versions and use that. But I've since changed, obviously, to a digital format. So
fantastic. Which is what? Sorry, I just wanted to confirm.
yeah. So now what I have built a digital map case to use on my TV. I mean on my table, and I want to say it's a 50-inch TV that I put in there.
So it's a
But
TV
so
tabletop setup. Is it a
correct, yeah, and
portable
it's not
TV
some
tabletop or is it one built into the table?
yes. No, it's portable because I built the table before I planned on using a digital map. Um, so this was an afterthought.
I mean, it's nice to have it as a portable option because you
Yeah,
may want to take it to another room or a friend's house or whatever, a convention, local games shop, whatever. So
yeah.
it's always an option that way. Um, oh, hey, yeah, good
And
question from Asmodeus. Really quickly, and I know this is jumping the line, but this was something that came up on your stream when I was there. Did you make your goal for your pinball machine?
oh, have I reached the goal? I have not reached the goal. Okay, so what he's talking about, I had two goals when I started this. Number one was to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I did that within 3 months, which was really cool. But then right after that, they released, if no one's seen it yet, it is the 50th anniversary Dungeons and Dragons pinball machine by Stern, called the Tyrant's Eye, and it's super cool. And I could go for an hour long just talking about this pinball machine. But they released that, and I have wanted to buy that ever since. So I made that my monetary goal from all social media. And it's a $10,000 machine.
Oh my.
I was sponsored by a company named Flippin' Out Pinball. I hope that's okay to say. Um,
No, that's fine.
they have offered to sell it to me for $7,999, basically taking $2,000 off, which was incredible. And I'm right at around 6,000, so I'm pretty close, and I'm gonna be working really hard to reach that. I
It's
may
really
even
cool, brother.
cut it short and front the money myself at some point, and then make it up later.
So we've got
But yeah,
questions.
Asmodeus, I appreciate you.
We've got questions coming in from the community,
Sure.
both from Discord and on the stream. And I don't mean
Okay.
to cut the line with Asmodeus's question there. I just saw it and I remembered, yes, that happened on the stream when we were talking about it. So just a quick background info. I was a guest on Moore's midweek Monster Mash stream just like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And essentially, do you want to tell them a little bit about the stream, and then we can talk
Sure.
about how that went? But anyway.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe we'll skip that. Yeah,
Oh,
right. No, I'm just kidding. No. So every Wednesday, except for right now, of course, this is the time. I took a few weeks off. I have some things I want to catch up on behind the scenes. But every Wednesday, I run my stream called the Midweek Monster Mash, and it's essentially just a 6v6 D&D battle between me and another creator. Mac was one that I had on there. I think at this point, I've had, I want to say maybe 12 other creators or something like that on there. And you essentially pick six monsters that are between the CR of 6 and 10. And then we duke it out D&D style. And the most fun part about it, I think, is that the viewers can actually interact. And so you can provide us with extra actions for attacks. You can provide us with magic items to give to our creatures. You can heal us, revive fallen characters. And the most fun thing to happen, which Asmodeus had happen a few times, is you can bring in some epic and legendary creatures to support the side of your choice. And then it's just a timed battle at that point. You can either completely eliminate the other side within the time limit, or you get points equal to the CR of every monster that you kill. And so at the end of the time period, if no team is eliminated, whoever has the most points wins.
It's a quite fun event. I've watched a few, like lurked a couple times, and I caught it when I was between things, and then being a guest was quite a treat. And honestly, I feel bad. I feel like I over prepared a bit. Like I thought you were gonna grind me into dust because you do this all the time, and are like, oh, I know all the best monsters to throw at people, and just have already like you kind of hive minded it by playing with a bunch of people. So I was like thinking I need to plan for like everything. And I built this team that was pretty like versatile, had good action economy, could summon other people, and like had good movement, like really good movement. And like it was a pretty fun event. Like let's just say that like I did not expect to do that well, or like it was funny though, but I completely swept him. Like I didn't kill all his guys.
It was embarrassing.
But he didn't score at all. And so I was thinking, he'd get me a few times, and he almost did. He was like pinpointing my weakest guys, going after him with like a huge Colossus Titan. I teleported the guy away with Dimension Door just to save his life. Anyway, I did spend a lot of time looking at all the creatures in the various CRs, because D&D Beyond can break them down. And as long as you have the books for it, you can look at them. So I was like, man, I gotta make a cool, like, team that's like the Avengers that balances each other out. Anyway, I had a lot of fun, man. Thank you again for having me as a guest, and I hope you all check out his streams. Can we get a link drop for that, Atlam, really quick?
Yeah,
for his
right now,
content?
I don't think I have any scheduled, so you can definitely check out the YouTube channel, and then you could get notified from that. But
Well,
right
if
now, I
anything,
don't
on
have any
YouTube, they
scheduled.
can check out your VODs, watch past ones.
True,
And
true.
when you do schedule a new one, they'll likely be subscribed to tune into it then.
True. I didn't even think about the VODs. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Yeah, you can go check out Mac's video. Watch him completely destroy my terrible team. Mac goes down in history, by the way, on this stream as eliminating the first character faster than anyone else has ever eliminated a character on stream, because you killed my first guy within what I think it was 5 minutes.
I think it was the first round. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was like, what was it? The Aladdin guy that I got?
Yep.
Yeah, I swallowed him with a worm, like a ground. It was like a graboid from Tremors, right? That's basically what it was. And yeah, swallowed him, took him underground. He couldn't get out. He got eaten. He died. It was over. It was very quick.
I didn't realize his HP was so low. I should have looked. So
he had a wicked spell list.
I didn't look at mine at all.
Had you gotten a chance to cast with him, it would have been very dangerous. But
yeah,
you also, got swallowed before you got airborne. Anyway, it was quite fun. I appreciate it, and I hope maybe we can have a rematch in the future.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I saw that was one of the questions posted a couple days ago. I 100% plan on that. There are two things that I'm planning on doing. Number one is some rematches, because a lot of people have asked for that. Number two is I'm looking at having a tournament style event where I might have like guests from previous streams play against guests from previous streams, and have a tournament style that way. And so my whole goal, I'm sorry, I'm derailing a little bit. My whole goal of this was, I think that it's really cool to bring together creators. I love, not even just in the D&D space, but when I see creators from different hobbies that I'm into and stuff like that get together, that video itself is always super interesting to me. And so I'm trying to build a bigger network where creators are talking to creators. And I think that it's been a lot of fun. And you see a lot of big creators do it, but you don't often see a lot of smaller creators do it. And I myself am a very small creator. So it's been really cool to get everybody talking and playing together. And I think that a tournament style event where it's not just people playing with me, but people interacting with each other too, I think that would be a ton of fun.
Blending communities is always great, especially when they all have similar interests. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Atlam, I thought I mentioned that to you in chat earlier, but I guess I wasn't quite clear on what it is. But yeah, you can use that command going forward. Spell list. No, that's called seasoning. It was in this case for the graboid. Quite literally was seasoning. Okay, let's go to a question from chat really quickly. From Loki on Discord. What features or themes in Dungeon Alchemist do you find most useful when creating maps?
The coolest part to me, because I tend to be a little bit more like you are, at least when I watch your streams. I like it to be a bit more organic. And so having that capability to adjust the terrain to pretty much anything you want it to be, lifting the smallest amount, adding your layers of dirt and grass and sand at different levels. It's having that total organic creativity within the app is so useful to me, at least the way that I do things. A lot of the other map makers, you have your set images that you'll put on maybe like a 2D landscape, and then you can change things here and there, but it's pretty standard terrain capabilities. I really like being able to adjust every minute, tiny aspect within Dungeon Alchemist. So I don't know if that's the answer that they were looking for, but because I know that's been around since pretty much day one. But
My
and I'm also
camera just
noticing that
crashed.
I was gonna say that same thing. So
I don't know what just happened. Hopefully it didn't die.
this is my stream now. They kicked you out.
I mean, you can
Welcome,
still hear
Moore
me.
DND, the community manager.
Here we go. I'm back. I just had to reinitialize it. Okay, we're gonna bring it over to one of your maps. Oh no, where's his camera? Stand by. There he is. He's back. Wasn't gone long.
Oh, look at that one. It reversed me now.
Oh, it did? Interesting.
It's not a big deal.
So we've got one of Moore's maps, a sunken underwater ship grave, I guess you could say. And I love this. Actually, a great use of the ship assets from the workshop, sinking them into the sand. It looks just very immersive. And honestly, I not too many maps that I've seen that do this. Sorry, go ahead.
This one was, no, that's okay. This one was for actually a midweek monster mash that I was doing against someone who had created their own a book that they had on Kickstarter with a whole undersea list of creatures and locations and stuff like that. And so they wanted to actually feature some of their creatures on my midweek monster mash, which I thought was a great idea, but that meant that I needed to make an underwater map for that. So that was what this map was for. And as I was making the map live, people were coming up with basically a story behind the map. And the story boiled down to, as you can see that little purple altar right on the bottom of the screen there, that is an altar to whatever creature lies within the cave to the bottom right. And they use sirens to lure the ships close to this. Then they sink the ships right here outside of it. They take all the loot from the ships, they place it on the altar, and they give that to whatever creature they.
It's quite a scam.
So, yeah, they were yeah, exactly. So that was the storyline they had come up with for this map.
Cool. Oh, this is a good question. And, you know, this is kind of real, actually. I think a lot of content creators run into this. This is from Anani on Twitch. Do you always have the energy to entertain as a content creator, or does it come naturally to you? And what keeps you from burning out?
I think that I have always been kind of high energy. You could ask my friend group that if there's anyone that's super high energy and I don't know, just kind of keeps the excitement going. I believe that would be me. And it definitely translates over to content creation. I find it relatively easy to stay excited about this because I enjoy it so much, and it's so fun talking to people and sharing ideas and learning from other people too. So I very much enjoy it. Every time I go live or every time I make a video, it's a ton of fun. How do I keep from burning out? I don't. If I'm being totally honest, I've taken a few breaks. And the beauty of it is that this is not my full-time job. So I have that capability. It becomes a lot harder, I imagine, when content creation is your full-time job and you don't necessarily have that choice to stop. Otherwise, the money stops. So, yeah, I definitely get burned out like anybody else, but I don't let myself get to the point where that basically makes me want to stop. I just take a break for a week, skip a week or two, and then come back and keep going. So great question, though. Great question.
Mental health reprieves are a great idea. I mean, if you can, with whether it's content creation or even a full-time job or, you know, any hobby, and even There's a lot of things you may need a mental health break from, but I think it's a good idea to recognize when you're on the verge of burnout and need a break. Um, when it comes to, content creation, another thing I can point out to
Yeah.
look out for is imposter syndrome, which is, often just feeling like you may not be good enough, or you don't deserve, what is happening, or you don't fit in with this other group of people that, are making content at a similar level. All these things are things that flood your mind as a content creator, as an artist, as a DM. Um, I think it's something that, when it starts happening, to take a look at, what you find enjoyable from this hobby, as it is a hobby for a lot of people before it is something that, becomes income based. I mean, I I've been in streaming over a decade now, content creation, they go hand in hand, and it's a brutal industry to break into, especially now. So, just make sure you pace yourself, make sure you don't like compare yourself against everyone else, and just try and like have fun and enjoy yourself. And I think ultimately your audience will find you.
Yeah.
If Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would totally agree. And if I can just add on to that imposter syndrome here, one thing that I would like to point out is as we've talked about, I only started this hobby back in the COVID timeframe. So I've been doing it for, I'll say, roughly 6 years, roughly. You meet so many people in this hobby. I mean, even you, Mac, you've been playing since you were how old now? It's been a very long time, right?
D&D since I was a young lad, like 8, but it was
Yeah.
more of a secret hobby because of satanic panic back then.
Yeah.
So I didn't really advertise it to my family or certain friends, and didn't do it all the time. Took a long gap break and then got back into it around COVID as well. So I did play a little bit, that Baldur's Gate, D&D. Continue. Go ahead with what you're saying though.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I definitely had that fear coming into this that, hey, I'm starting off in 5th edition. I'm 4 editions behind some of the other people that are doing this. And I have people now who have seen me on content creation videos here talking about how I play and what I do, and they're asking me questions about the way to do certain things. And I almost didn't feel right answering these questions because I was like, man, I'm new to this too. Just because I make these videos, who am I? And what I have found, and the only reason I just want to say this to anybody that might be thinking about getting into it, you are going to find people who are in the same boat as you, who like the way that you explain things, even if maybe you don't have the decades of knowledge that someone else does. They like the way you explain things better. They relate to you better. You are going to find so many people who just like you and they want to know your answers. And so to feel that imposter syndrome, I figured out pretty quickly is is silly. There's no need to feel that. You will find the right people and they will let you know because at this point, I've got a community that I love, that we're super great friends with. And the other part of that too is once you build a community like that and you have similar minded people, they start to also help you answer questions. I mean, Atlam here is a community member here for Dungeon Alchemist, but is way more than that at this point. So for anyone getting into the content creation, don't worry about that imposter syndrome. You're fine. You're going to find a lot of really cool people that relate to you individually, and you guys are going to be really cool friends.
Um, I appreciate
Oh,
that add
sorry.
on
See,
to
horse
that.
back in germ.
Yeah, we got a lot of people coming in. Bane, you are just super hilarious. How you doing, my friend? Honestly though, but like take it easy with all content creation. Take it slow, have fun. Always remember why you're there and why you got into it. You know what I mean? Like, and definitely don't like compare your success against other people, because it's not like a one-way street with a set path. It's different for everyone. I've seen people who, did this for years and then just suddenly blew up and like became very, very famous in the streaming community. And it was consistency and, growing and adapting, and, just believing in themselves over a set amount of time. Plenty of people also get lucky in content creation and just blow up right away. There really is no set formula for like becoming an amazing content creator or, streamer. High energy is one way to do it. Like, I don't know if y'all, I notice I'm not necessarily high energy, but I do like have a positive energy. That's kind of what I go for. And I think it's important to find your style. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think I'm high energy at least, but everybody has, may have a different opinion on me on that. That said, moving on, we got another question here from Low Key in Discord. What future features or themes are you especially looking forward to in Dungeon Alchemist?
It's already planned, and so I can't wait for it to come out. I am so excited for multi-axis rotation. The amount of times that I've wanted to rotate it on the whatever axis this would be. I don't know. Is that the Z axis?
So Z is up and down, at least in a 3D printing perspective. Your Y is side to side, and X is back and forth. So obviously you can rotate an object, you can raise it up and down, you can move it side to side, but you can't like tip it on its axis, flip it over, and that will be forthcoming very soon. For sure. In fact,
I am stoked about that. That's the number one thing that I'm excited about. The other one is being able. What are you calling them? Was it stickers or something?
Decals.
Basically, being able to decals. Being able to place decals on objects. I'm also very excited about that.
Fantastic. The object rotation is actually definitely going to be forthcoming in our next update. I have been experimenting with it on the side because I now have access to a build with it. It's very fun. I have a teaser kind of video I'm working on with it. Cool. When you're dealing with a dev build, though, it's like pre-alpha state, and it often crashes, has issues, doesn't always work like normal Dungeon Alchemist, so it gets a little frustrating to record with. Anyway, that said, I'm very excited for the community to get access to this. I'm trying to look and see if I have a clip of it. I know I do. Stand by. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Check it out.
Trying to find this object rotation clip I have just to show people. That's why I need to make my own, right? Badoop. Anyway, no worries there. Moving on to the next question, I'll find that rotation while we do that. Let's see here. It's from Anani on Twitch. Is there a way to enlist or become part of the midweek Monster Mash?
Oh, great question. Great question. I love having new people on it. So, is there a specific way to do it? Not really, but just consider yourself having just done it because it all just kind of grows out of conversation. Usually I'll be scrolling through TikTok like many others, and I'll see somebody that is a D&D creator, and I'm like, oh, maybe they'll want to join, and I'll just reach out. So it's been very organic, and it has grown through kind of word of mouth. And so, if you want to send me a message, like I said, right now I took a little bit of a break, working on some stuff behind the scenes. But when I kick it back on, I have a couple other guests that have reached out, also looking to join. And actually, side note, I have a guest that will be my largest guest to date as far as social media following count goes. They have about 1.5 million followers on TikTok, which is crazy. That's mind-blowing. So really excited. It's growing and people are very interested to be a part of that. So Anani, if you want to just shoot me a message somewhere, we can definitely talk about
that. Anani is also content creator. They've been streaming here on Twitch, doing map making primarily.
One time. I think we're very different time zones, if I remember correctly, though.
Yeah, I think they're on the opposite end of the earth from us, but still.
Yeah.
Congrats, dude, on locking in such a large streamer or content creator for your thing. Sorry, I got this video pulled up, by the way, for anyone curious. This is kind of an alpha beta of object rotation. It's a little bit different now, but the premise is the same. This will be available to pretty much any object except for like objects that are pitted that like sink directly into the ground. But for the most part, any object will be able to be rotated. Anyway,
Yeah, that's interesting that the cheese is rotating in a different manner than
See, that's why I said
the
it's
thing
kind of
was.
early. It's not
Yeah,
necessarily that at the moment. So
yeah, that's
that's
fun.
an older clip. I couldn't find one of the newer ones. So anyway, but it is they kind of wanted things to feel like physics was involved and it was moving, like if it was getting launched off of it. Does that make sense?
I
So
see.
or maybe it's like just tipped and went in a slightly different direction, but there really is no way to make things fall off of things other than you moving them manually yourself. Just the Dungeon Alchemist object physics won't support that kind of like random dropping per se.
Gotcha.
Ultimately though, yeah, if you tip something with stuff on it, you can just grab the stuff on it, tip that stuff, put it to the side if you want to add more spread to it.
Sure, sure.
Okay, next. Let's see here. This is from Low Key on Discord. If the devs gave you the chance to choose one feature, one theme, and one object set to add to the tool, what would you pick?
Okay, so I don't know how this would work. I think that at some point, maybe way far down the road, it would be really cool if you could start maybe including, like, when we say theme, like I guess pop culture themes, if you will. Like, maybe, for example, if there was like a Lord of the Rings theme that you got together with them and you were able to make,
Oh
I don't know, a
man.
bunch of objects that we would know from the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff. I think it'd be cool to have like packages that were themed like certain pop culture references. I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would be
Um,
amazing. I imagine licensing for stuff like that would be
oh yeah.
insane.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but I would say, like, we have done object packs in the past, and we likely will do more in the future after we leave early access and have delivered on all our stretch goals just to continue support.
Yeah.
That said, I could imagine us, potentially doing themed asset packs, not necessarily pop culture, but maybe around a certain setting or like a certain, just like a backdrop with, these objects and, set for maybe like a very particular setting, like in a game, but without necessarily using their branding and name. That said, it's kind of
Sure.
hard to dance around.
Come on, just pay like the $500 million
Right. As much as I would love to do Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or anything like that, I don't think it's possible at our level, like unless they offer like a licensing option for indie developers similar to how we offer our community. So but
But as
it
far as
does
a
sound
feature,
so cool. It does sound so cool.
that would be wicked.
Okay, go ahead and one feature and one object you'd like to see added.
Yeah, for the I don't know if I have a specific object. For the feature though, it may already be possible and I just don't know how to do it. But there have been times where I know that we have the cave theme where you can physically be making a cave map, and we have ways of changing the terrain on a regular map to create like valleys and such. Is there a way to, if and actually I'm glad you have this map up because this is the latest time I tried to do it. I wanted to make an indent in the side of the cliff there that wasn't necessarily a cutout cave for like a room to go in, but I wanted to indent into the side of the cliff. Is there a way to do that currently? I don't think there is, but I could be wrong.
So whenever you carve the terrain, it's always going to carve up to the ceiling of the terrain and downward as far as you are digging. You
Yep.
can use objects, like an arched rock face to make an indent, or, an overhang or like a bridge like you have here.
Mhm.
You can also use like rooms, because rooms are a way to to traverse between layers. So you could technically build some kind of like small room that uses some natural facings that kind of allows for this part of the ledge to stay there, but it would also
Okay.
have to have stonework or something at the top. So there's ways kind of to get little things like that, but it's not necessarily doable with the terrain tool itself. The terrain will never be able to overhang itself with the current terrain tools until we like make an overhaul with it.
Okay.
So what I would probably do in your situation is just, let me turn on my mouse highlighter here. Is go to objects and nature, find matching, stonework, which is like these sandstones.
'Cause I
And
kind of did it with the cave on the bottom right of this map. Um, that was, I guess, the best way I could think to make an interior without having an open top.
like this.
Other corner. Yeah, that way. So I was kind of like making a cave there with all the rocks and stuff.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, that's pretty
There you
much
go.
the only way to naturally do that. I mean, technically, we could, in theory, make like a room at this level that has nothing, right? And
Okay.
we know where the edge of this is, which is like right along here, correct?
Yep.
So that's basically to the edge of it. If we continue adding to this, wonder what it'll look like on the outside. Oh, it didn't cut through. I was hoping it would make an opening there. Bummer. You could see the land where it extended out.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Unfortunately, I was hoping if we started on the underground level, it might have like an overhang or a cut. Unfortunately, the terrain tools don't support that kind of adjustments at this time, but that would be super cool for sure. I definitely like that suggestion.
Yeah.
Let's
Like
see.
I said,
here.
no worries. I'm definitely able to work around it. I just,
I know. No, that's a great
something
suggestion, and that's the point of the question, right? You were asking if it's possible. So, what is an object you'd like to see added?
I don't actually know. I don't think I've run into an instance where you guys haven't had either the object or a way of me putting in the object. Because I mean, there's always so many that's on the workshop too that we can play around with. So as far as what object I would want added, I don't know. I don't know if I have one.
Well, I'm glad we were
I'll
able
say
to
a
please
statue
someone.
of the Moore DND logo.
A personalized statue. Guess what, bud? You get that statue made, you got the asset importer ready for you. So definitely can do that in a way. But let's see here. Okay, I digress. That's the only way really you would get in there. Let's see here. If you had to, this is from Pokey Tavern on YouTube. If you had to start your content creation journey over again, what would be the advice you'd give yourself? That's actually a really good question.
That is a great question. Prepare for editing. Boy, did I not realize how long editing videos takes. And when I first started out, I was so cocky that I was going to be able to fly through this. And now that is my biggest limitation right now is I like I said, I work full-time job. I have 2 kids, got my family and all that. And oh man, I thought I would be able to just keep up and I was not. So I don't know if it would change anything that I did, but I might have a better mindset going into it because I started off really hot. I was making videos really fast and I definitely burned myself out really fast. And now I haven't been able to catch up to that speed I was at since. And the other thing is they tell you that you're going to get better at editing videos and you do. The more you do it, you get a lot better. The problem is you find new things that you can do video editing. So now, even though you got really fast at the stuff you were doing before,
Skill curve
you've added
goes up.
more things into your video editing process. Yeah. And now you're still taking just as long, but your videos are getting better. So there's that. So
I mean, if your
that's the biggest
production
thing.
value is going up, I think it's well worth the time you put into it. I'll be honest. I'm going to tell people what I put into time. Like a 1-minute video will often take well over an hour to edit. It's not even joking because let me kind of go through the process because I'll shoot all the video, which I shoot like 5 minutes of rough video. And I go through and trim out the parts that I like, the clips, and then kind of arrange those, right? Which you got to find the parts you like, trim them out, arrange them in the right order. Oh, you also, if you're demonstrating something and you want to talk, you need a script. Scripts, they're not necessarily easy to write to be entertaining and like have good information, easy to say, straightforward. Oh, engaging. Like you got to have a lot of things all in a tight package. And often, it's a good idea to have a looped script. So when you say the thing at the end, it loops right back into the beginning of your video. Not always easy to do. Now you write a script and time it to your video, or what I usually do is just write the script first and time the video around it, all the editing. Saying the script is not necessarily always easy. I often shoot voiceover like sometimes a dozen times, sometimes once. So, I'll take anywhere from 5 minutes to a half hour just shooting voiceover for a 1-minute video. It's crazy. And I guess I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I like to one take a lot of videos if I can, like the audio for them, because mixing audio is a pain. It's way harder to mix audio than video, in my opinion. So that being said, you edit all that together. Often you want to add closed captioning, and then you have multiple edits depending on your platforms. You have portrait and landscape edits. All of these things are things to take into account for content creation that people don't necessarily think of at first. And so definitely it is like a job in itself to edit videos.
Yeah.
I have a great radio
my first
voice.
couple videos, they just like there's minimal editing, which I guess is why I was so cocky about it. There's minimal editing, and so it was kind of just like cutting out the sections of each clip that I didn't like, and then putting it together, adding a background music, and then a couple little funny clips here and there, and that was it. And they did okay for my first couple videos, which was great. My first video on my YouTube channel is still my highest watched video, which is crazy. It was the one all about my table that I built. But that video has such little editing, and that was the one that I based all my I was like, "Oh, I can do this. I can keep going." And now, one of my more recent videos was all about actually building that digital map case we were talking about earlier.
Hmm?
I built another one to give away, which I ended up giving away. But the editing that I put into that video, I think it's like a 7-parter, and then I have one full video that was the best video that I had. I think I put probably days worth of editing
Oh my goodness.
complete all the way through all those clips. It was wild. Wild.
I believe you,
So,
man. The editing, especially a multi-part video that spans multiple minutes, could probably take days and days to edit. Well. So yeah, it's quite a daunting task to get into, especially if you want your production value to match like what other people are doing out there to a certain degree. I don't really have that beautiful video face like Moore does, so I often do the radio faceless videos for that reason. You only see me on stream for a reason, people. Anyway, let's move on here to our next question from Loki on Discord. On your midweek Monster Mash D&D battles on YouTube, you use a variety of creatures to battle each other. While Dungeon Alchemist doesn't specialize in creature assets, it does have a few, and the flesh table is the stuff of nightmares. If you could add a couple of creatures to DA, what would you choose?
oh man. Ooh. Adding specifically creatures.
I will say to this end, you do have the support of a VTT when you're running your games, which you have a massive library of tokens to choose from, and like all of these, stat blocks to pick. So a lot of that he has access to already if he's cool with that, that style. But it is a good idea to have an asset in DA sometimes, because they're nice to have and move around and adjust in the environment, especially if it's a big end game boss, right? So I should kind of add to that. Is there a monster or a legendary monster, something particular you'd love to see in D&D?
So yeah, I was going to answer similarly in that I typically don't add any creatures, monsters, or anything to my maps. Just for the sheer fact that I know if I'm using it with my players, there's a good chance that they may murder hobo the cattle in the field for some dumb reason or something like that. And now those things are stuck on the map if I put them on the map. So typically, I do not add creatures to the actual map itself. Now, as far as some of my favorite creatures to work with while we're playing, I like constructs a lot.
I know
feel like
this
there's
all too
so
well.
much. Yeah, I feel like there's so much that you can do with them because they're so whatever person created them, they mold that creature to whatever their desire is. So if you have a big baddie that you have thinking a certain way and wanting to do a certain way, but you don't necessarily want to throw him in the battle, if you have henchmen that are normal humans or whatever, they have their own agendas. right? Whether that be just living. If you go to fight against the boss and these guys get in your way, in reality, if those guys realize that you're going to murder them, they might not hang out. And as a DM, I feel obligated to say, okay, they're going to run away. But constructs, if he programmed that construct to hold your ground and protect the big boss, that's what they're going to do. And you can create them to do whatever it is you want them to do. So I'm a big fan of constructs, and I think that they're very, very customizable in any way that I want them to be. So those are my favorites.
Honestly, that's a good reason. I would pick constructs solely because they have like lots of immunities and resistances. Not only that, they do not tire, they do not need sleep. They're very durable creatures in that regard. Often, though, limited in their attacks, like what they can do attack wise, unless they're like a crazy huge construct. But constructs are very cool in that regard. Big fan of constructs as well. Love them a lot. So you'd like to see some robots in Dungeon Alchemist?
I
Some
think that would be
robots?
super cool. And honestly, with the robots, it kind of acts the same way as I think that you've got a couple suits of armor and stuff in there to work with, in that they don't necessarily have to move.
Not unless provoked or triggered, right?
Correct.
They could just
So,
be
yeah,
an environmental object. That works great with a construct as well. I love that
Exactly.
point, dude. Love that point. So is there a particular style of something you'd like to see? Because we do have a golem. We do have
Yep.
some suits of armor and like
Yep.
weapons and stuff. All of those can be constructs. So
Oh, is there a specific one? I mean, if I just had to pick one, or if let's see, I'm going to pick one. The Marut is probably my favorite construct because he's broken. Being able to fight against a Marut is almost impossible. But they also look very cool. So yeah, if you're looking for one to throw in there, the Marut has my vote.
Marut. Did you have one of those when we fought? I'm not familiar with this.
It may have been my legendary creature, but the Marut, I'm okay. For the guests that are watching that know more about D&D than myself, you may be able to answer this better than myself.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, they are the arbiters of certain contracts at some fancy place, and if somebody breaks a contract, they send this Marut out to get you, and it can teleport to where you are, and it does straight damage. It doesn't have to roll for its damage. It automatically does 60 damage per hit, which it gets 2 of per turn. And then it will teleport you back to that citadel or whatever it is to I guess make sure you take care of that contract. So
I've never run into a Marut, but I think you had a Colossus that we fought against, that I fought against at least a little bit. That was one of your legendaries, at least, if you had a multiple option. But the Colossus was very big, lots of HP. I did not kill it. It was very insane. I kept away from it. Really quickly here, we're at our hour mark. We do have a few more questions on the
Sure.
list. Are you cool with us going through those? And
Yeah, I am
Fantastic.
free. I got nothing going on.
cool, fantastic. In the interim, I guess let's let a few more questions flow in if anyone has any. Please
course.
preface those questions with the phrase "question" and just drop them in any chat feed. Our moderators will add them to the list, and they'll be addressed in the order they were received. This next one is Bane on Twitch, Bane TBC. What is your favorite dinosaur, and why is it a Bambi Raptor?
All right. My favorite dinosaur is probably, I love an Ankylosaurus. The Yankees are cool. They got all that plate armor on them. So I'd say that that's probably my favorite. They're herbivores. So, I'm not running from them either, which is great. But I think so my son, he's the dino expert. He is 6 years old, and I have learned most of my dinosaur information from him. And I think that his is probably a Carnotaurus. Uh, they call him Toro in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, that kids show. They call him Toro. I think he's like a Carnotaurus or something like that.
Huh.
He's pretty cool.
Man, I feel like there's a new dinosaur like every few days now. Like,
I know, right?
like it's awesome that we're like in this age of discovery for archaeology and like different species of dinosaurs. But at the same time, man, I feel like there's like 4 dinosaurs when I was growing up. There was a T-Rex, there was a Brontosaurus, there was Stegosaurus and Triceratops. Those are the only
Triceratops,
dinosaurs.
of
Well,
course.
mainly because of Land Before Time, right? Like,
Yep.
that's all anyone ever cared about. But
Oh, I see. Bane said little raptors, the compies. I know
Compies.
that they. Yep, those are cool.
So my kid, when he was a little bit older than yours, he was also like into dinosaurs, and he really wanted to play this video game that had just launched at the time, Ark: Survival Evolved. It's
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's like pretty old now. It's a little over 10 years old now. So he wanted to play, but I was like, man, this game kind of mature, and like there is a lot of crazy stuff that can happen in it. So first off, we set up a private server for him. And then secondly, I set parameters that I said you can only play so much. And thirdly, he had to learn every dinosaur name and know how to pronounce it and study the dinosaur and like know about it like an encyclopedia to answer questions. Like I'd quiz him on it before he could have the dinosaur in his crew to tame it. So I set like he had to learn all about the dinosaur and do a bunch of homework before he could tame the dinosaur. And so it added a lot of like, extra learning to the process. And he'd learn how to pronounce the name, learn a bunch about him. And then he'd get to play, after school, after homework, doing that. And he really enjoyed it. And we'd play a lot together. And then as he got older, he's like, Dad, can I play with my friends? And, he's in his, mid-teens at this point. So we let him play online. But it was, I think, a great learning process for him because he got to see these animals, and obviously not real, but, a simulation, which is fun. I mean, Jurassic Park is no different, I guess. It's a simulated experience in a movie, right? So,
Oh yeah.
anyway, yeah, Evil Penguin, you played some Ark. I think a lot of people played Ark. Okay, moving on from that. Inani on Twitch, what kind of setting is your favorite to fight or DM in?
Ooh, I don't necessarily care for where it happens, but I want my setting to have more than just the fight going on. I want there to be, I like when there's something else happening at the same time as, and I guess I'm referring to within a battle, but I like my setting to have multiple things going on at once. And for example, there was a dungeon I had created, and inside of that dungeon, there were 4 constructs. Sure enough, 4 constructs. And all around them, there were 20 different posts that were like flashing little electric arcs. And as they entered the room, the doors shut. And what would happen is on initiative 20 at the top of the round, they would roll 5d20s, and each one of these electrical things had a number. They would roll 5d20s, 1 through 20, and an electrical bolt would jolt between the arcs in the order that those d20s were rolled. And anybody that was within those got shocked by that, and they took damage. And they couldn't get out of the room until they found out how to stop this from happening, whatever was going on. But at the same time, these 4 constructs were chasing them around the room, attacking them while they were trying to figure out how to get out. And if they got shocked by it, they actually healed. So this was just like a terrorizing room all at once. And it was some of the most fun that we've ever had, because they did eventually find out that when the certain totems, when they were part of that stream of that lightning bolt, on the bottom would open up, and within each there was a key. And so all they needed to do was get up to one of those arcs that just went off and grab the key to go open the door. But yeah, so there was multiple things going on. They were figuring out a puzzle while they were battling. And so my favorite scene is whenever there's multiple things happening all at once.
I mean, that sounds like exactly what happens in most Hollywood movies nowadays. Like, as they come to a rapid conclusion in the last 5 minutes of the film, there's a battle, someone's solving a puzzle, people are joking back and forth, they're trying to figure things out. It's great storytelling all around. That's great, fantastic. Honestly, in a recent session I was in, we were pushing into this room that was like a big, huge, like a caldera, if you will, like a lava chamber. And in the center of the chamber was like this huge, like fire salamander looking dude. And we triggered a fight with him. And then as we triggered a fight, there was a countdown that also happened. Every round, it would like count down this, you know, it was like 5 counters or whatever. We're like, well, that's ominous. What's that for? So we like didn't know what was going on. And we were thinking maybe this guy had a big attack or he transforms, or maybe the room does something like a legendary action. We don't know. So we're trying to take out the guy as quick as possible. And he's got some minions and himself. We're trying to take him out. We take out the minions. They're kind of pushing us back into this tunnel as we were trying to push into the open area. Tunnel's kind of boxing us in. It was kind of dangerous. Anyway, we finally take out his minions, take him out. As the like last counter happens, as that happens, a massive like lava dragon, like it was like half lava, half like half rock, you know, caldera dragon emerges from the lava and wants to fight us. It was epic. It was because you're not sure what's happening at the end. Like, do we have to get to this door before this collapses? We have no idea what's happening. So it was great, at least that it was something fightable, controllable, not something outside of our hands anyway. But it's always fun when there's like a puzzle or something happening on the side. It stresses your players out a lot and gives them a lot of motivation to make things happen quickly, make decisions quickly, instead of just mulling around, for 5 minutes. Well, we should do this and combo attack and get all the, you know what I mean? So at least this way it pushes the narrative forward quickly as well. Next question. Sorry to add that whole story to that, but I felt like it was so relevant in the moment, and it just happened in our last session. We discussed this a little bit earlier. We already addressed that one from Loki in just normal conversation there, Atlam, so you can cross that next one out. Pokey Tavern from YouTube, what is your favorite map you've ever built?
Oh, you know what? I should have sent it over.
Send it over.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Do it. Take your time.
So for Heroes Haven, there's this was before there was multi-story also. So for Heroes Haven, I have certain parts of the town, just like any town should have. And they're usually titled pretty funny. So for example, the town hall, that's where things that you can go to find the quests for the day. But the person who runs the town, his name is Craig Fresman. And so his list of quests that are available is called Craig's List. Which is really
oh, goodness.
But so they have an inn at the town, which is where all of, the heroes get together to kind of meet up and look for work and talk about work and stuff. And that's called the LinkedIn. And the,
oh my gosh.
The proprietor of that, her name is Angie. And so
you got Angie's list.
You got Angie's list in there.
Oh my God.
Reach out to a contract or anything. So, but that building is my favorite, the LinkedIn, and I think I have that on here. If I don't have it readily, then we won't worry about it. But that is my favorite map because it's a 4-story inn, and the rooms get nicer as you go up. And the top floor, there are only 4 rooms, but they're massive rooms, and each one is designed for a different kind of character.
So did you make these as 4 separate maps, one for each level at the time?
No, I actually made the map 4 times as wide as twice as wide as the building.
And so gotcha.
And put them next to each other. Yeah,
that's smart. I've done that in a build before too. Same level, multiple stories. It's just like a cutaway.
I haven't gotten the strength to go remake this now that there's 4 stories.
Oh, you should though. It's gonna be so cool.
I know.
Honestly, once multi-level came out, I definitely was like leery about some of my older maps remaking them. But once I remastered one of them with multi-level, it was so great. It was like, I don't know. It was perfect. It really just. Okay. Go ahead.
This might be it. I'm gonna send it to you on Discord real quick. I think this is the one. Send. There you go. But yeah, so that one I enjoy a lot. We also have, while you're pulling that up, I'll talk a little more about the town. We have the magic shop. The person who runs that, his name is Spencer. I can't remember his last name, but
Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro! I see so far ahead into this. It's hilarious. Sorry for cutting you off. That's so funny.
No, that's fine.
It's really perfect that you've got like all these mall stores and like businesses. You need to have one of those like a service where they do messenger services, but they have like a bird thing and then call it Twitter.
Oh.
So they
The
just
mail carrier. I love
yeah,
that.
like
The
a
local
you know
mail
like a
carrier.
passenger pigeon or something service and call it Twitter. That's good though. This is okay. So these are each different levels, right?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so the bottom left is your first
I
main
see the
level
entry.
you walk in. Yep. And then the stairs do line up. So the stairs to the left line up to the
So to clarify for our viewers, this is a legacy map made before multi-level was added. And you can tell it's legacy by this lock on the level widget in the upper right. So when you download a map from the workshop, or if you open an older map of your own, if they happen to have this logo, that means they were made prior to the Fun with Objects Part 1 update that launched last July. They can still be open, they can be interacted with, they can be edited, but you cannot add true multi-level to these maps because this version of Dungeon Alchemist is so fundamentally different than the multi-level version. We had to kind of gut it down to the bare essentials, the foundations, and remake a lot of things to make it functional for multi-level and roofing. So while you can still access older maps and they're backwards compatible to a degree that you can still access them, play with them, edit them, share them, you unfortunately cannot add multi-level to them. You'd have to start a new map, a new build. So moving on from that, sorry to interrupt you. You've got your entry point here. The stairs line up here to the, is this the second floor here?
So that's the first floor. Yeah, and the second floor is to the right there. And so that comes up. You've got your first layer of rooms that aren't anything super special. You don't even have the bathroom on this floor. And then the second floor, it basically goes counterclockwise. So that's second floor. The third floor is above this one. So the third floor will have, I think this is the single rooms. Yeah. So you have your own rooms here. All the bathrooms are on this floor. And so these are the nicer set of rooms if you're willing to pay a little bit more. And then finally, in the upper left corner, you have the 4 special rooms, if you will, each of them designed to cater towards a different person. You're more studious. You have your work room there. They each have their name.
Themed suites at your Airbnb.
Exactly.
Your LinkedIn, exactly. I mean.
The bottom right one, I think, was called the Nest. The bottom left one was called the War Room.
This one's theme is America. This one's plumbing.
Yeah.
This one's just...
And they do each have their own bathrooms, so you don't have to go to the bathrooms with the peasants down on floor 3.
I feel bad for the people on floor 3 having to have people come up to their floor to use the bathroom. Yeah. They have to deal with all of that. True. That should have been on the first floor. These guys have to deal with the bathrooms and all the extra noise and the smell and the water and... No, it's cool. Point. It's cool. Let's make these middle classers deal with this. It's their own fault for not being poor enough or rich enough, I guess.
Yeah, they should have made enough money to rent out one of the custom rooms up top.
Or their own bathroom, exactly. So this is a beautiful map and a great way to represent multi-level still, even to this day. If you're not comfortable with, a multi-level map, or laying it out like this often is a lot less demanding on a computer than, jumping up and down between floors. That said, no longer necessary to do this, as you can use the level widget or plus and minus key to navigate between floors. Unfortunately, that backwards compatibility thing is a bummer. That's the first time we didn't offer full backwards compatibility with a new update in our entire 5-year development of early access. But at the same time, it was a big leap forward, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love this build though, brother. Really cool. I like the detail in the tavern. A good tavern, you got cups and good lighting. I'm not sure about the centerpiece. What's going on here? Looks like a cult tavern now.
Yeah, I had a story. It never came up. Nobody's ever asked about it. So
I'm the first.
The story that I had. You are the first. I believe that there was. So this town runs on gold. There is no other currency. No one is allowed to work in the town, whether that be farming or smithy, stuff like that. You literally have to be heroes working in the town making gold. And so the town is rich. And so I believe the skull, Craig had purchased the skull. He did not slay this. He's not a hero himself, but he's got a ton of gold. he had purchased this specific dragon head, but he had paid someone to kill it. And I cannot remember the story I had behind that. But he had said, listen, I don't want anything else other than the skull of that dragon. And so he did pay them an exuberant amount of money for them to kill the dragon, bring him the skull, and he has since made it a centerpiece in his tavern.
Cool.
In his
I mean, it's a
inn
good
here.
idea. He's advantageous there. Hey, Atlam and Pokey Tavern, I want to add to that in a moment. There is a little bit more to that, though, that we can discuss. There is kind of a way to transfer maps, but it's not as direct as one might think, but it still makes it very easy. We'll discuss it in just a moment. Anyway, we got one more question here from Atlam, and then we have discussed all the questions from our community on the stream. We actually ran a little long today. We're over 20 minutes past the hour now. Fantastic,
Sure.
actually. I'm glad that there was a lot of questions. Hey, Wanda Vorkas, how you doing? Let's see here. So the question is, did you find it easy to pick up DMing and develop skills for it? What is your number one piece of advice for new DMs?
I tend to dive pretty heavily into anything I decide to try. And so the only reason I say I did find it relatively easy is because I dedicated my life for like a month to learning how Dungeons and Dragons worked. And that included watching a lot of video, like many people do, of how other people do it. And, I know a lot of people love Critical Role. I'm personally a big fan of Critical Role. I know some people think that, they're obviously much different than your average person, but they do have a lot of really, really good clips that I paid attention to and watched and just kind of experienced to see how to do that. So was it difficult? I will say no. It was very time consuming, but it was not difficult. And as far as a piece of advice for doing it is like, just be confident. Go into it. You're going to be nervous the first time DMing. Go into it. Do it anyway. Don't back out. Still do it. And within your first 30 minutes, it's so comfortable at that point. You forget you're even figuring this out as you go.
It does click.
And yes, it just happens. And there are not enough DMs in the world. And so no matter how good you think you may or may not be, just know that every other DM respects the heck out of you for doing it in the first place because, like I said, it's not enough. So.
Quick shout out to all the DMs, GMs out there. You all are unsung heroes because the games wouldn't work without you, period.
100%.
You are the storytellers. You are the referees. You are the rule, masters, the world builders, the producers, and oftentimes mediators for a bunch of adults that act like children on occasion. So let's just, you're all very, very, very unsung heroes. And I just want to give you a quick shout out, give you the love you deserve. Whether you're a fledgling DM or, a multi-year DM, whether, you've been running one campaign or dozens of them, you all are, have my respect for sure. It takes a lot of time, effort, and love to prepare and run a campaign, even if it's just one session, a one shot, or a long-term one, especially takes a lot of time. So that said, to kind of add to that, a little bit of advice I might add, you said you watched a lot of videos. I often, when I'm watching, like, I didn't want to compare myself to Critical Role is one thing I tried to avoid doing. Mm-hmm. I've heard people say that is advice as well, because they kind of set a standard that if you try to hold yourself to, it may give you imposter syndrome, like we discussed earlier. One person I like watching was Matt Colville. He is like a very down-to-earth, long-term DM who has a lot of videos explaining like the ins and outs and minutia of like learning to DM and how to do it and advice from his perspective. He has been a DM for like going on like 30, 40 years, and he's DM'd for people that like have made some of the craziest entertainment pieces of our era. Some of the most popular video games and movies and, pop culture pieces that some of you love and know. And that said, he is a really cool guy, and his videos are really entertaining. I recommend them. There's also a lot of great creators out there that, are just fledgling creators or, relatively new to the content creation scene when it comes to this. And as Moore said, there are going to be people out there you may vibe with more because they're new to D&D or to tabletop gaming, and they're more at your level instead of someone who is way up here and you may not be able to understand what they're saying. I think that the longer you do have a hobby, or you do something, you begin to speak at a different language in it, and it becomes very hard for new members of that hobby, that community, to engage with, because they don't know all the lingo and the ins and outs. So, new content creators that are just getting their feet wet, that, maybe have less than a few thousand followers, that are really passionate about tabletop gaming, are also a great place to source. There's tons of great streamers here on Twitch that are like growing, content creators, maybe long-term DMs, or alternative new DMs and longtime content creators. I encourage you to check out the Dungeons and Dragons category. My GM Eric, great content creator. Moore, great content creator. He's got all these tips and trick videos that kind of guide you through storytelling, spells, different aspects of things. And I imagine you probably learned something in the book yourself, and you're like, hey, this would be a great thing to make a video about because I found it interesting. Like, that is a great way to do content creation and learn, is just read that stuff and absorb it, and then make another video or make some content about it. You end up being an expert on it because you've rehearsed it, discussed it so much. Anyway, moving on from that was the last question for you. Dude, I had so much fun having you on today. I appreciate you hanging out with us. Sorry, I just dropped something on the floor. It hit my foot. I was moving my desk and something fell off. I don't even know what it is. It's got me nervous. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, and honestly for sharing all this time with us today. I know it's your weekend, and I know you got a family, you got your kids, you got your missus, so don't want to keep you too long. Community, can we please get some thank yous and a warm goodbye to our friend Moore here for sharing his time and his energy. It was such a positive interview, such great vibes today.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely appreciate you having me on. This was great, and it was nice that I got to have you on the Midweek Monster Mash too. So, this is twice now. I feel like it's just been a lot of fun getting to hang out with you on these streams. So, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate your community for having me. I appreciate you and the whole development team for Dungeon Alchemist. It's been a great program that makes life so much easier. And yeah, I noticed I saw Inani had sent the friend request over there. So happy to be growing that interaction too.
Networking.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, networking's huge. Huge. That's another, honestly, I'll throw that out there too. If you're just starting out, don't be afraid to reach out to any of the creators, even if you think that they're way bigger than you are. They're just another person on this planet. Like,
you're all just people.
Good. Yeah, we're all just people. We're all trying it out. Like, I'm just some guy that still has a regular day job, that has a family, living in a normal world like everybody else. So if you are ever looking for questions and there's someone specifically you want to reach out to, send them the message. I promise you're going to be surprised with how many people respond that you think wouldn't.
Fantastic, Moore. Thank you again. Appreciate you so very, very much. We got Pokey Tavern. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Evil Penguin, thank you so much. Great interview. Daddy Sean, appreciate you. Catatonic DM, thank you. A great listen. DM Crusader, thank you for the great interview. Atlam, such positive vibes from Moore D&D and his community. Thank you for hanging out today. Asmodeus says, will you let Mac know when you get your pinball?
Yes, so I will also release a whole video on that when that happens. So I will let Mac know. The video will come out as well.
So he can flex on me, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's gonna be a video of him rubbing different angles very delicately.
I'm very stoked to get it whenever I do. So yeah, I will definitely let him know. And also, if it's Mac, would it be all right, Discord wise, if I shout that out? Because there's one thing I want to talk about the Discord over there specifically for Dungeon Alchemist.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, got it. So over in the More D&D Discord, I will obviously announce it over there whenever I get the pinball machine.
Can you go ahead? Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll throw the link in a chat real quick in a minute. Yeah, over there we have something called Satchamon, which is a digital, basically collectible card system, kind of like Pokemon. So I call it Satchamon, but satchel instead of pocket because this is D&D. But it's all based on the world of D&D, including the monsters, items, and locations, and it's all free. There's nothing you can pay for. The reason I'm bringing that up is collecting them is a ton of fun. You get to get new cards every day. But our very first sponsor card ever was actually Dungeon Alchemist because they gave me a copy, 2 copies to give away. So if you are interested in ever trying to collect the Dungeon Alchemist trading card, digital trading card, it is findable, collectible over in the More D&D Discord, and it's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna find an image of that. Can't be too long ago you sent me that.
Yeah, I can even say. Okay, I was gonna say if I sent it to you a while ago, I could send it to you now. But you're right. I think it was relatively recent. But I forgot you sent all this stuff too. Yeah, so you can find that over there. And yeah, I'll announce when I get the pinball machine and stuff over there. And we have a ton of fun over there too. So would love more people to come hang out. So yeah,
holographic.
Yeah, it will always forever be holographic. So it is the hardest card. Well, it is among the hardest cards to collect. It is a 1 in 400 chance of pulling it in the first place. And for it to be a perfect card, a mint condition, it's a 1 in 10,000 chance. So it's very unlikely.
Straight up Pokemon polls over here. Divorced dad polls. Okay.
So, but I'll let you get back to it. Just want to shout that out in case anybody wanted to come collect your card. So
fantastic,
thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you so much for being here, my friend. You're always welcome in the stream, in the Discord, and hopefully we'll get that rematch soon when you get back to doing the midweek Monster Mash. You have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time. I give a damn, my friend. We're gonna disconnect you really quickly.
All right, sounds good. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
What a great interview. Let's get the music back up. Yeah, because he was showing off his card system that he runs in his Discord as kind of a fun interactive tool. Okay. So, Poke Tavern, you had a question about bringing a map from legacy to regular. Okay. While there isn't a way to directly copy or import a map, right, from one version to another, right? YouTube link is broken. Uh-oh. Yeah, music was way loud. Fix that. Sorry about that, everyone. So, in the case of most maps, especially legacy maps, they didn't have multiple floors on a single map like this one is. This is a very unique case where all 4 floors are on a single map. So the first thing we would want to do in this case is, let's say you have a map that has, you know, a level you want to import to another, to a new version of DA. So you want to get from this locked version to a multi-level. What you would want to do in this case, I'm just going to shrink this map down to the first floor, which you can do by grabbing the chevron in the corner and essentially just dragging it in, so it reduces the size of the map to this one singular floor. Now we just have this one floor with this one layer all the way around it. You could even close it in all the way just to the walls, but it's not really necessary. I'm going to just double check the size here. It's 18 by 16. Take a note of that. That's really important. I'm going to export this map, right? So in this case, I'm just going to export it as an image. Doesn't need to be for any particular service. We just need the image, right? I'm going to do it as a flattened top down. Alternatively, you can use the 3D perspective so you get a better idea of what you're looking at. It's really a personal preference. In fact, I'll do limited perspective this time around. We're going to select no borders, meaning there will be no border on the outside of this export, no gray lines, just the edge of the map as is shown. You export this image, right? And save it. Make sure you export it without a grid. Okay. So you take that. I'm just going to save it to the desktop really quick so I can get at it in a moment. Okay. You know what? I used the links he gave me, so unfortunately, if it isn't working, then I apologize. That's where the mix-up came from. So now I've exported this map as an image, and I have a mental note that it's 18 by 16. I'm going to make a new map, right? I'm going to make it 18 by 16. Notice the pattern here. I'm going to set it to, that looks like a grasslands biome, so we'll just do grasslands, right? We're going to generate this. LGD Keeper, we're doing great. We're just kind of showcasing how to convert an old map to a new map in Dungeon Alchemist. How are you doing today? So, Pokey, are you following along really quickly? Just want to make sure you're paying attention right now. So you're going to want to go to this button down here in the bottom left of this left toolbar. This is the tracing layer, okay? You suffered the entire day of Dungeon Draft. You know, Dungeon Draft's a pretty cool tool, and it's got a lot of objects for it because of that that website that they have support with, right? Is it? But I will say that Dungeon Draft, in compared to Dungeon Alchemist, when it comes to generating environments or rooms, you know, for quick generation, can't beat how smooth and how quick Dungeon Alchemist can be. Sorry, that sounded like a cigarette ad there. So you open up this trace section here, Pokey, and you click Trace Overlay, and you add a trace, right? And at this point, I'm just going to grab that map, which was... Which one was it? Oh, HH LinkedIn. So I imported that image, right? As a tracing layer. I'm going to press, I'm going to turn on the grid here momentarily. 1 second. Did I disable it? Might have. Grid on. Should be visible. Huh. Why am I getting no grid? Huh. Interesting. Well, this should line up pretty similarly to your grid, right? Oh, I see the grid finally. It's just really faint. Let's turn it up a bit here. We'll set it to a different color so it's easier to see. So notice you can see the grid present. I guess I just had it too transparent and I was blind. And we've got this image present, right? We can set the transparency to kind of, oops, let's delete that one, to line this up. So you could see where the other building would be, right? And at this point, you can just take the Draw Room tool and kind of match it up to this environment. The reason I said top down is because then you don't have these weird overhangs from the 3D perspective, but you still have a rough idea of the room. You can just drag here. There's one room, set it to, you know, a bedroom if you want. Here's another room that's a bedroom, but you can essentially draw in all these spaces and know exactly where everything was. Right, Evil Penguin, you got the joke. The way when I heard myself saying it out loud, I was like, wow, that sounds like I'm doing an old school cigarette ad. But yes, the smooth taste of Dungeon Alchemist. Welcome to Flavor Country. So, Keeper, are you still present? One thing I would like to point out with Dungeon Alchemist is you can generate maps in moments, but you can also roll up your sleeves and build entirely by hand. So, you have the best of both worlds. And the best of both worlds is great because often your players are unpredictable, right? That's kind of the whole reason we designed Dungeon Alchemist in the first place, is to give you an easy to use map making tool on the fly, but also allow you to build really intricate, detailed maps in your downtime. So let's say your players are like, hey, we want to go, talk to this random, Aracraka that we met 25 sessions ago that they have in their notes that you'd forgotten about, but they were promised a favor by this guy, so they want to go meet with him. And you didn't plan for that in your session today, so you could just generate a map on the fly, right? That's kind of one of the biggest use cases for Dungeon Alchemists, in my opinion. That said, our community proves time and time again that you can make almost anything in Dungeon Alchemist if you set your mind to it. Between the ability to import custom images similarly to Dungeon Draft, or custom 3D assets through our asset importer or the shared repository of assets on the Steam Workshop. It's a great way to make custom builds of all kinds. Yes, we do have 2 desert biomes, actually, Badlands and Desert. You can make anything, anywhere, if you want to suffer long enough. So, Pokey Tavern, yeah, essentially you import the image, activate the grid, and trace over the existing room shape and fill in the objects roughly the same. So if you don't get the same room generation, you can always just make it again. And sorry, I keep getting distracted. We're just having multiple conversations here. So let me show you just in base. I'm going to generate a room with just the basic stuff. No objects, just walls, floors, and ceilings, right? And we could set it to any type, but we're going to go to Tavern here. Let's set it to bedroom. We'll just draw a room here. We can add in all the doors and windows manually after the fact, right? We have another room here, another room here, another room here. Let's do the latrine like it has it here. And then this is the Great Hall. Those highlights, I believe, are the floors below. So it's letting us know there's an underground possibility. I don't know why it would be doing that, actually. No, we haven't done anything on the lower floor. So I don't know why it was doing that. Maybe it's just highlighting against the contrast there. But if you look at this now, if I just take this tracing layer and disable it, I've got essentially the same floor plan now. Just got to customize it to match a little bit. Now you know where all the objects go. You know where all the doors and windows go. So it's really easy to replicate a floor plan in moments. Just remember, you got that trace layer on, so you got to tone it back so you could see what's underneath it. Very quick way to just replicate what you've got. Does that make sense? Oh, I think I missed a room there. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay. Let us move on to a desert biome from Steam really quick, Bold Eyes. So if you want to generate a new map in Dungeon Alchemist, you can generate in one of our, I believe, 12 different biomes at this time. 10 of them are environmental-based biomes, and 2 are non-environmental based. And we're always adding more biomes. Almost every major update, we add at least 1 to 2 new biomes. Our next one is going to include a new non-terrain artistic biome that is essentially like... it's hard to explain. The white assets with like a black outline. It's like almost an art style, like a hand-drawn style. Anyway, let's move on to generating a new map. So you click new map. I'm going to set this map to 40 by 40 just to get you a general size, right? And you can see how quick it generates. We have a desert biome, and we also have the Badlands biome, both of which I consider desert. Badlands has more like mesas and rocks and stuff like that, whereas desert is strictly mostly sand and like oasis and stuff like that. So let's go to desert. You can generate a dune, flat, large dunes, mountains, ravines, canyons, craters, all sorts of stuff. Cave systems using the desert biome. Our grid is sort of a fixed size when it's a square. That is, when that exports, that is pretty much whatever you want it to be. Really, the grid when you're building is mostly just for reference. So you have an idea of how big and how, spacious everything will be. So let's say your system considers a square 5 feet, or your system considers a square 10 feet. It doesn't matter when you use Dungeon Alchemist. It works either way. That said, a lot of our assets and otherwise are artistically matched to a specific biome or a specific size, so they're easier to see. So I set up a flat desert, kind of basic. Let's do something a little bit more fun. Let's do a large dune. These are really cool. So here we have a large dune, and that was just generated in moments. Okay, let's go and edit this terrain under the terrain tab. You could also just mold and shape the terrain custom if you have a very specific thing in mind. Or you can regenerate it again. You can also change the paints. Maybe you want some sandstone in the mix here, or some rock outcroppings. You could do that, right? Our terrain tools are very versatile in that regard. Next, I can just change this environment. So let's say I don't want large dune. Maybe I just want regular dunes. Regenerate the environment on the fly. So the grid is this kind of a set size when it's square. When it's hex, though, LGD Keeper, you can adjust the grid size because we understand hex is used more for a larger regional scale, and some people tend to make maps that can work in that regard because of a perspective, like a forced perspective. Because this huge dune essentially could be a vast region. It doesn't have to be a 40 by 40 map. You could make it a hex crawl and add different, outcroppings, a small village in the corner, stuff like that, if you use forced perspective. So at the end of the day, the grid is customizable in some ways, and others it's very restricting. You are encouraged to export without a grid present unless you plan to play on like a printed map or a TV tabletop, like on a looped video or an image that's just static, because otherwise you wouldn't have a grid. But if you play with like a virtual tabletop, like Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Above VTT, all of which are compatible with Dungeon Alchemist, by the way, and we offer direct exports for each of those platforms I just mentioned and many others that offer line of sight information for walls, windows, doors, lighting information, etc. Otherwise, though, getting back to this, your grid control when you use a VTT is much more exuberant. You can do a lot more things with it. So we encourage you to use theirs and just export the map without a grid if you're using a VTT. Because then you could set the grid to whatever size you want, whatever color you want, whatever shape you want. So let's import a Badlands. Hey, Badlands to me, yeah, I would say Southwest US, like mesas, canyons, stuff like that. But also it reminds me of the Badlands of somewhere like Australia, right? Let's do a Grand Canyon so you can see what it looks like. Bold Eyes, I'm not familiar with the 1001 night setting, but we not only have multiple desert biomes, but we also have like rooms that are a kind of a desert aesthetic. We have tent type rooms and several tent objects, and we also have like adobe style huts, or we even have things like yakchals and osbods, things that are like very common in a desert setting, at least in the real world. Keeper, do you mean how big of a map you can make, or how big can you make the squares? Is that, sorry, I want to make sure I understood your question there, by the way. I could have totally misunderstood you. So I didn't want to botch that. Because in answer to the second question, essentially, you can make the map as large as your computer can handle. Dungeon Alchemist essentially can make it as intricate and detailed and as large as your computer is intended to deal with. It real-time renders the environment, so you have a full 3D environment and all the effects and lighting are rendered in real time. So the larger the map is, the more of a burden it is on the average computer. I have seen maps up to like 250 by 250 on the workshop. Earlier today, I downloaded one that was 150 by 150. So people can definitely make some large maps. There's people who've made regional maps that span like all of the Sword Coast. Like the entire Faerun setting is in a singular map that's like 250 by 250 because they used forced perspective and scaled things down to make it like tiny little villages on a, you know, a reasonable size map. Oh yeah, I mean, okay, so we have room types under, let's see here. Under desert, all of these room types here fit in really good to that setting type. You have palaces, you know, hovels, tents, all sorts of stuff that you can use for that setting there, Bold Eyes. So most definitely you can fit into the Aladdin. Here, let's generate some. Let's go ahead and let's do a tea house tent over here. We'll make it round-ish. Oops, I should have raised that up. So we'll render a little tent room here. Oh, I didn't have any objects in it. Let's regenerate it with lighting and objects. And then we can go up a level so you can see the roof on it. There's like a little tent. Let's try a hovel over here. So like a, you know, Adobe type or like, you know, sandstone, whatever. Oh man, I made that one floating because I generated it on the 3rd level. You get the idea though. And in addition to this, there's thousands of objects. There's like carts, tents that can be used to make custom fitting. Like these tents are really cool too. These you can place almost anywhere and then pop the top off and just decorate them. So if you wanted something like mobile. Anyway, there's a lot of objects available. And then in addition to that, our community shares maps and assets on the Steam Workshop. It's integrated right into Dungeon Alchemist, so you can import assets if you want a custom asset, or you can browse the asset browser to look for something. So maybe you wanted something in a desert setting. You could just search and see if there's anything. So here we have all sorts of ruins that fit into a desert setting. And that's just searching the term desert. So there's probably way more. Sand pile, sand bag, sand terrain, sand wall, sandstone with markings on them. You get the idea. There's lots of stuff shared by our community that can expand upon a theme really quickly. Bold Eyes, I hope that answers your question there. Scheherazade? Okay. You're working on a Dark Sun West Marches campaign, Evil Penguin? That sounds dark. Isn't Dark Sun like a really dark setting? Like a very brutal setting. So Dungeon Alchemist comes stock with like over 7,000 assets, and that expands with every update. We add like 500 to 1,000 new update or assets every major update, right? We also have room types. There's like over 100 room types, and then you have biomes, 12 different biomes like we discussed earlier. In addition to that, there are maps shared by other people, so over 14,500 maps already shared by our community. So you can look through and just download something if you need something on a whim for a quick session. Or you could see if one of a very specific setting or map style is already made and download it. Alternatively, you can just browse it and look for inspiration. So that is a huge value of added to Dungeon Alchemist, just our community. We're such an amazing community. And I know I'm kind of bragging as the community manager, tooting my own horn here, but I do love to foster like a very supportive, accepting community that is inviting and open to all, and is very eager to help each other and guide each other and learn from each other. These maps being shared is a big portion of that. We are constantly encouraging our community to share their maps because people come up with new ideas all the time that we don't think of. As me as the community manager, as a longtime map maker, I may miss something or overlook some kind of concept or idea that a new map maker, somebody might come up with on their own without any guidance from our community. There's all sorts of things that have been incorporated into Dungeon Alchemist development over the years because community members have found like workarounds and bugs to do things. So we encourage our community to try and push Dungeon Alchemist to its limits. We have several places where you can share, your maps, your artwork related to Dungeon Alchemist, your assets, and then also, bounce ideas off each other. These streams are a great third space for that. Our Discord is also great. But it is always nice to be like, hey, I need a map set in the desert, right? Just search it up. And there's already quite a few available, 6 pages or more. This is one of my favorite maps, actually. This one right here. Great example of like a desert village. I will let you know, Bold Eyes, in Dungeon Alchemist demo, it's only our forest biome, so you only get access to that one biome and the tavern room type. So it's kind of limited. It's a demo after all. But the desert and Badlands biomes are available in the full version. And we love you, Chim. This is such a beautiful map and a great example of like a desert village. By the way, anyone, if you have questions related to Dungeon Alchemist, now's the time, whether it's a support inquiry, guidance in your exports, if you're new to Dungeon Alchemist, or if you're considering getting it and you have questions, ask away. As the community manager, I love providing you real-time assistance. I think it's way more potent and powerful than a tutorial video could ever be, because you get your question answered from someone with tons of experience and know-how in the matter. But the cool thing about this, Bold Eyes, is, I mean, you could just go download something like this and use it as a village in your setting, because the work's already done. It's really great. But there are like windows that fit that ornamental, Aladdin style. Like that straight up reminds me of like the Aladdin window. These ornamental windows are peak. I think they're great. Yeah, no worries. I'm honestly just super excited to see someone in our Steam chat, because usually Steam chat doesn't load by default, so people don't notice it and don't interact with it. So I'm just happy to see someone there. I appreciate you dropping by and asking questions. By the way, we're live on multiple platforms, Bold Eyes. We're live on obviously Steam, but Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously. Hey Fox, how you doing? Welcome back. Right, Anani? Just a lot of good streamers on right now this time of day. All right. So while we have questions coming in related to Dungeon Alchemist, I'm going to just keep pulling up some maps. We'll kind of highlight maps that I was going to showcase in our map showcase today, our segment, so we can hit two birds with one stone. Sound good? Hey, Cave Beast, how you doing? I finally had some more time to play some Everything is Crab the other day, and I finally beat that first, like, boss at the end of the line. So I got into the new, like, tier. And I had a lot of fun with my build. So I had like a lot of regeneration and like armor and resistances and dodging as kind of my like way to avoid damage and like, you know, recover from it. And then in addition to that, I had Stinger and Leech as my attacks. I got to the point where I had so much health, like over 140 HP myself. And then I had regeneration out the yazoo, and it was tons of dodging, tons of misses. And I just, at the end, I had like 20 guys all attacking me simultaneously, and none of them could hit me. And, oh, and I had spines. Spines was another good one, like porcupine spines. Anyway, I finally was able to do good at it. Nice, Tavern. I'm so happy to see that you are going to be joining us. And I'm glad you enjoyed the demo. You know, if I could get your feedback while you know, since you just used the demo, did you enjoy the most about the demo, and what did you not enjoy about it? Is there anything we could improve? Found this map on the workshop earlier. It's called Bandit Camp, a great use of the tent room type, often kind of underutilized. I think a lot of people wish you could change the color on it so that it gets underused for that reason. Hopefully in the future we address that, because it would be great. But amazing use of these, these barricades or palisades, if you will, and terrain manipulation to make like a multi-tiered bandit camp. Got a war table, but no war table assets. I know some players that would definitely want to get in here. Just steal the loot and get out. How was the barbecue? Cave Beast, what did you eat? Did you bring enough to share? Because I think everyone's hungry. Whoa, look at that ham hock. It's good to hear, Pokey Tavern. Honestly, I think the devs really wanted Dungeon Alchemist to be accessible to as many people as possible. Wanted an easy-to-use tool that scales, that gives you a lot of versatility and functionality as you learn and grow with the tool. So it starts easy, has some basics, but also has a lot of advanced features under the hood the more you start poking around at it. You know what I mean? I love this open air smithy right here. You don't see a lot of those in builds. Perfect fit for a bandit camp too. So you cannot import custom assets, nor can you access the Steam Workshop asset browser or map browser in the demo version. Those are advanced full version features for sure. Here's the thing: they wanted to limit access to a particular set of, particular biome, particular set of assets, room types. Ultimately, if you have the workshop at your disposal, you could potentially download any map there or any asset, make almost anything. which is a feature that should be reserved for people who own a full copy of Dungeon Alchemist. We had some sausages and pork and chicken and potato salad and coleslaw, filled pepperoni and aioli, and geez, there's a lot of ands. Looks like that could be climbed. Sounds like a yummy barbecue. It was more than enough for everyone. Fantastic. No, I mean, did you bring enough to share it with the stream? You know what, Pokey Tavern, I often say on stream that it is like Sims meets Baldur's Gate. Like if those two had a mashup, right? So yeah, your wife is on the nose there. And I'm sure you'll be lore dumping all your maps and the lore behind them on her often, so she probably knows you best. The shipping alone would kill you. Fine, I won't make you share your burgers and... No, I'm just kidding. All your barbecue. Sausages and pork. No, you didn't have burgers. Filled pepperoni sounds delicious. What was it filled with? You keep your barbecue to yourself. Fine, keep your secrets. Your wizardly ways. Cream cheese is the term? Nice. I always appreciate you translating for me as an American. Because, like, you know, wouldn't know otherwise. This is a beautiful little map, though. What do y'all think? I think it's a fun little map on the workshop. I wanted to highlight it because often there's diamonds in the rough. You know, maps that are new maps that people don't see because the most popular maps are often, they're listed first and always at the top. So maps that are at the popular get rated and upvoted over and over again, and it's a cycle of keeping them at the top. So I love to highlight most recent. Is that pronounced Frischkassa? Frischkäse? Fresh case? I don't know. I can't remember how to pronounce an A with an umlaut over it. This one's called the Stranglewood. Ah. A? Fresh case? Fresh case? Thank you, Atlam. Atlam's secretly from Malta and doesn't want anyone to know. I don't know why. Atlam's hiding a secret in their name. It's my headcanon for you, Atlam. Technically, you could be Santa Claus until otherwise. Because I haven't seen you and Santa Claus in the same room, so. You might also be Batman. You want to move in, right, Voldy? This is a beautiful manor. Or estate, I should say. They have a maze, a hedge maze, so you know it's a swanky estate. Like they got some money. They call it an estate clearly. This looks like it'd be a level in a Resident Evil game. Do we have a basement? We do. We have a Yakuza. Little spa underground there. And it goes down further. Of course, you know. Their own private burial chambers. Deep underground the mansion. If you want to move in, it's I need first and last month's rent. And I need references from 5 different people. Where is Mr. X? Who's Mr. X? Uh-oh, the music ended, I think. Is there going to be a special offer in the near future? That's a good question. So, you know, often I don't know about our sales until just like days or a week or so before they happen. But from experience, I can say that we typically participate in almost every major Steam sale. So your seasonal Steam sales, your spring, summer, winter, fall, and on occasion we are invited to others. Whenever we do go on sale, we announce it across our social media, our streams, etc., in advance if we can, and during. One thing I can recommend if you're keeping an eye on our product and you want to know when it goes on sale, add it to your wish list on Steam. And if it goes on sale unexpectedly in a separate, you know, RPG themed sale or whatever, then you will know almost immediately. Steam basically puts up sale events and then we apply to them and then they let us know if we're approved to join. So we don't pick and choose when we can be. Often they'll also invite us randomly too. So Steam Summer Sale comes up, we apply for it, they say, yes, you're approved and we can join. Oh, Mr. X, gotcha. Gotcha. I completely misunderstood what you were saying there. And yes, I did make a casual reference to Resident Evil, so I should have remembered that. That's my streamer brain acting up. I have a condition that all content creators, streamers have called streamer brain, where you forget what you were talking about just moments ago. Because you're having 5 to 10 different conversations all at once while you're playing a game. So yeah, June, it looks like end of June, beginning of July is the next major Steam sale. So the Steam Summer Sale. Definitely add Dungeon Alchemist to your wish list. That way, when it goes on sale, you'll be made aware immediately. Very nice symmetry in this build. Ow. Like the underground rooms? Is that what you're talking about? The antechambers? When you're so rich, you just got piles of money on the ground. Called being a man? Yeah, probably is that too. I get distracted a lot, but I also think I just suffer from like a non-focused brain that doesn't work in a straight line. Definitely have some ADHD going on. I often, when I'm map making or doing any task, it ends up being like several tasks or going in kind of a circle instead of a straight line. there's this show called Malcolm in the Middle, and they do bumper intros to the show that are like a little comedy intro, kind of introducing the episode. May not have anything to do with the episode, but in one of them, the dad in the show, his name's Hal, Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad, etc. He is tasked with like fixing a drawer. And he's supposed to fix it, and he's been asked a few times to fix it, and he's like, fine, I'll get around to fixing it today. And he goes to fix it, he goes to fix like a shelf, and then he can't find his tools, and he goes to find the tools, and then the drawer is broken, and then he goes to, and just a bunch of tasks add up on top of it. And when I get tasks like that, I end up doing them all, because it's like, well, I need this fixed to do this, or I need to find this thing to do this. I often do that, and it makes me laugh because as a dad, that is so relatable. Because I get things coming at me all the time, not just, it's work, obviously, obligations and things I got to take care of there, but then family obligations. My son and my wife, I'm like their tech support. I fix and maintain everything around the house. I unclog drains. I, take care of things outside in the yard. You know what I mean? I'm like the handyman and the dad and all these things wrapped into one. So if something's broken and I go to fix that and then I find another thing broken, I'm usually just on a rampage fixing them all. Anyway, I definitely get distracted easy when doing tasks. I usually have to give myself a list of things I have to complete when I'm doing set tasks that I have to check off from the list. Like, oh, I did this. Because if I don't have that to remind myself of all the things, I'll often forget what needs to be done or what I was doing in the first place. Anyway, now that my streamer brain's been talking about streamer brain and being distracted for the last 5 minutes, this map is absolutely stunning. It's called Stranglewood Estate, not Stranglewood, like strangle, but strangle with an E. So that is on the workshop. Hey, see you later, Chim. You have a good one. See, I'm the opposite. When I check things off of a list, I feel so accomplished, right? And when I finish the list, oh man, before I go on a vacation or travel or do anything that's like a big event, I have a huge list of things that need to get done for it. And then I have a list of things that need to be packed up and done before I come back. Lists for my lists. Anyway, but I need to, that's how I am. I have to be organized like that or I forget things. Anyway, let's open up one more map here, and then we're going to discuss Cartomancer Chronicles at the same time. I want to show you this map I found earlier. This map is a 40K map, okay? And it's 150 by 150. Yeah, you got to make sure you don't forget anything, random ladybird, right? Especially, so like a couple years ago, I traveled for a convention, right? I guess it wasn't a couple years ago now. It was pre-COVID, so it's been like a half a decade now. Goodness, how the time flies. Packing for a convention. I was staying at an Airbnb and it had a kitchen. So I planned to bring a lot of food with me or get some there, grocery shopping. So I didn't have as big of a food bill. Like I wasn't going to go out to eat or order to eat every time. I was trying to keep my costs down, right? Because I was going as a content creator and I wasn't getting paid to go. So I was like, but I did get a free ticket for entry as a partner for Mixer at the time. So I really wanted to make sure that, I pinched my pennies, so to speak. So I drove down. I shared an Airbnb with a couple other streamers. We all split the cost, and we split the cost of gas because I'd drive us around. We only went out to eat one time. Well, they went out to eat a few more times or ordered in, but I used the kitchen. I made food. I brought like a cooler full of stuff, put it in the fridge or kept it in the cooler and made myself breakfast and whipped up a lunch and took it with me to the convention. Granted, though, when we're at these places, a lot of times booths or like events, they'll invite you for a private viewing of a game or a product and you get food, snacks. Like I got invited to a private viewing of Cyberpunk before it was released, and I got a bunch of merch and drinks and food, and I got to go to a Plantronics demo, the same kind of in like a hotel room that was like set up as a booth. and got to try all these new headsets and got a bunch of food. Like, they're always trying to take care of people demoing their products at these events. This map's going to take a while to load, by the way. DA will probably or Windows will probably throw up an error saying it's going to not load. It is big and it's very detailed. It's a surprisingly detailed map. Hey, Zach, how you doing? Welcome back. Ooh. More like, Anani, I have a list that'll say these are all the lists I need to make for my vacation or travel to make sure I have everything I need for there and back. And when you're traveling and you have all your food and, you know, things to cook food and whatnot, you got to plan ahead, right? So usually I'll have like a checkbox list of all the items I want to pack. And then I have lists being like, hey, make sure you pack those items before you come back, because you don't want to forget any of those items. I know it sounds crazy. I just like being organized when I travel because it's a lot less stressful. Abracadabra, how you doing, man? My wagon's extended warranty. So this is like a full-scale Warhammer map. This thing's insane. I've been wonderful. How about yourself, my friend? What's new with you? Getting old? Tell me about it. Turning, well, I guess I shouldn't say because I might make our older viewers feel extra old in the process, but honestly, I'm getting to that point, I feel like, in my age where everything's starting to hurt. This thing is massive. My son says I make dad sounds when I get up from a chair. I'm like, ugh. Dad grunts. So what you been up to as of late, Abra? What's new with you? But yeah, the scope of this is insane. Pokey Tavern, we'll see you later. Honestly, we're wrapping up the stream in like the next 5-10 minutes, so no worries. Appreciate you being here. Have a good evening. Or a good night, I should say. Get some rest. Nothing new. Working, playing D&D, sleeping. It is a bummer we're wrapping up soon, but 'tis life. By the way, I'm printing a pan flute because I can. Why not? Yes, I gotta say thank you to our moderators. Thank you to our longtime supporters. Thank you to our lurkers. Thank you to our first-time viewers today. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Remember, we stream twice a week, every Monday and every Saturday. Monday is Mapmaker Monday. That's our next stream. It runs from 9 a.m. Pacific, that's 12 p.m. Eastern, or 4 p.m. UTC, for roughly 2.5 hours. During that stream, I build a map live and provide you guidance and map making, but also answer your questions related to Dungeon Alchemist in AMA format in real time. So ask me anything as long as it's Dungeon Alchemist related. So you can tune into the stream, watch a map built in real time, and ask questions and get guidance and tutorials from someone with thousands of hours of map making experience. So make sure, if you can, tune in. Great way to get rid of those Monday blues. Watch while you're working kind of thing. Hang out with us. Our other streams are every Saturday. The stream is essentially the same every Saturday, with one segment being different. Every other Saturday, we have an interview like we did today called the Damn User segment, or alternating Saturdays is the Damn Challenge. So during the stream, you've seen this marquee at the bottom say the Damn Challenge theme is Hidden Place. Or is it? Yeah, it's Hidden Place. Using that theme as inspiration, you can make a map of any shape or size and submit that to the Dungeon Alchemist Discord as part of our bi-weekly map making contest called the Damn Challenge. If you decide you want to submit your map, make sure you follow that theme as inspiration and submit it before the deadline, which is the 29th, Friday the 29th by 11:59 p.m. in your time zone. So as long as you submit it before end of day in your time zone on that day or before that day in our Damn Challenge channel in our Discord, you're eligible to qualify. By the way, there's a few rules pinned at the top of that Discord channel, like 4 or 5 rules. You just got to follow those rules, adhere to them when you submit your map to qualify. If your map is properly submitted, you have a chance to win a $10 Hero Forge gift card, which, as many of you know, Dungeon Alchemist has Hero Forge integration. And if you didn't know, now you do. You can make a token on Hero Forge, purchase the token on us with that gift card, and import it directly into Dungeon Alchemist on top of any other tokens you have made and purchased digitally from the Hero Forge platform. Anyway, moving on from that, I'd like to discuss the Cartomancer Chronicles just a little bit. Oh man, this map is big and freezing somewhat. This thing is beautiful, though. The scope and scale of it's absolutely enormous. So the Cartomancer Chronicles is our newsletter. Every week I put together and publish this newsletter. Very basic newsletter that some of you, it may just pop up for you each week and you don't know what it is. So every Monday, without fail, unless of course, I'm going through something or on vacation or whatever, we'll have a Cartomancer Chronicle, which gives you tips and tricks, showcases maps, interesting assets, and if there is an event that hasn't passed already, it'll showcase the event here. I do hate that about the Cartomancer Chronicles, that it doesn't show past events info still, so you could just learn what we've done in the past. But anyway, it shows upcoming events in the calendar section, and you can click on the calendar or these assets or maps and actually load them up directly. So if you see a map in the Cartomancer Chronicles or an asset or anything in there that you're interested in, more often than not, it's interactive and you can open it up. So there's links, to our Discord, to, various maps and other tips and tricks that you can learn quite a bit from. New newsletter every week, and you can look at past newsletters by clicking check archives. So there's, over 160 Cartomancer Chronicles if you go back, quite a few of them. Some of the tips are repeats because, we get new people to our community all the time, so they may have not seen that tip in the past. So I like to share some of them here and there on a cycle. But for the most part, like the news and the assets and the maps shared are all new each week. Never been shared before. Oh, wow. Bold Eyes are going to snag a copy today. Awesome. Well, welcome to the Damned Fam, and we hope to see you on a future stream. If you have any questions, you can also tune into our Discord channel, which is a great place to get support or ask questions off stream. We have channels dedicated to that, a question channel and a support channel, so you can get guidance, almost 24 hours a day. Additionally, we have our wiki, which is a great resource, a good offline resource when our streams aren't live. So you can check that out. Can you share the wiki with him over there, Atlam, if Bold Eyes is still there? All right, everyone, I think it's time to wrap up the stream. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in today. Like I said, whether it's your first stream or your 100th, whether you're new to Dungeon Alchemist or you've been here for years, thank you so very much for tuning in today. Whether you are an active modder or, a lurking in the background, just waiting in the shadows like a damn ninja. Thank you everyone for being here today. Appreciate you also very, very much for supporting the streams and our community initiatives. As I said, our next stream is Monday. That's at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC is when that starts, and it runs for about 2.5 hours. We're starting a new map on Monday. And that is we're doing a forced perspective build. I'm going to do a landing page. So we're going to build a landing page. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's sort of a loading screen for your games, especially if you use like a virtual tabletop or a TV tabletop. It's a great resource to be able to build a landing page as sort of a primer or a loading sequence for your players to, see upcoming information, see their characters' art, see relevant, items and, backgrounds and backdrops and pictures and things like that. Anyway, we'll be discussing those at length on Monday, explaining what they are and diving into them. Thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. Atlam, thank you for all that you do. I appreciate your help today. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad and we're going to wrap up the stream. Thank you everyone for being here. Bye. Bye. Mac out, all right? We'll see you next time I give a damn.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak-Ta, and before
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Well, I'm not doing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have to the fabled realm of
Goyak-Ta, please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered mapmaker, on Steam today.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing weekend. We'll see you back on Monday. And if not, probably see you around the Discord. Mac out. Bye.